Alright, welcome back everyone to another episode of the Questions of Life. Today, Natsu gets asked the question. Originally, I thought I would ask Uchiha and Aorbor who their waifu was. As I thought of the best waifu, Artorias, I came across a phenomenon among the AUNDOH group. Tales of Berseria is the only Tales of series game that all three of us have played to the end. I think. Aorbor, you can correct me on that. So, why not go with the iconic question pinning the theme of Berseria? Why do birds fly? Alternatively, the question asks, why do individuals do the things most essential to their being? For example, flight to birds is as practicing mathematics is to mathematicians. The question assumes there is something that is unique to the nature of birds. Then it questions why do birds do that unique thing. To elaborate on this, consider a bird that cannot fly. We wouldn't say that bird is no longer a bird because it cannot fly, but we would probably say it isn't quite living up to its potential as a bird. There seems to be something missing. Similarly, if a savant child in mathematics were unable to do mathematics anymore, we would say he wouldn't be living up to his potential. With the question explained, let's move to my answer now. So, my response is that birds fly because they see no other way they would rather be. I'll endeavor to explain my response in more detail, then compare it to the other two responses given in Tales of Berseria. First, I mean that birds fly because there are no other ways for them to live up to their potential. The path for humans to live up to their potential of being human is not the same for birds. A bird, acting like a human, would not be participating in the unique things that make it a bird. Birds, of course, would rather be birds than humans, thus they exhibit their flight so that they can be birds, rather than be humans. The parallel with individuals is that persons exhibit their uniqueness because there is no other way for them to live up to their potential. An individual who tries to walk the path of another would be living up to a potential they never had, thus they would squander their own. In order for that person to live up to their potential, the only way is to exhibit their individuality. I feel I've explained my response concisely here, so moving on to the responses that Berseria gives. Up first, we have Artorias' initial answer to the question. He claims that birds fly because it is their duty. Here, this duty refers to the bird's duty to live up to its potential. For instance, a child born with exceptional skill in mathematics has a duty to grace the world with their gift by becoming a mathematician. In comparison to Artorias' response, mine doesn't suppose some duty for individuals to exhibit their individuality. My response doesn't even suppose that the individual needs to exhibit their individuality. It is perfectly fine for someone to walk the path of another, like a bird that chooses not to fly, but still, we would say of that bird, it's missing a little something. On the other hand, if the individual seeks to be himself and exhibit his individuality, he does so because of duty, not because there is no other way for him to be. Obligation doesn't lead him down that path, but rather a default. And it's the only path that he can take if he wants to be himself. In contrast, Velvet gives her response in the last confrontation with Artorias. She claims that birds fly because they want to, and there is no other reason than their desire. Without reason or duty, the only thing left is what the bird wants to do. Individuals exhibit their individuality because they desire it. I like Velvet's response a lot more than Artorias's. In comparison to my own, though, it is a bit nuanced to what I intend, but my response would be far closer to hers than it is Artorias's. The contrast here is that I am claiming that you should be your true self because there is no other way you would rather be. Whereas Velvet is saying you should achieve your potential and, be your true self because that's what you want to do and for no other reason. Thus, to recapitulate, birds fly because that is the way they become their true selves. Velvet's sexy, Artorias is sexier, and you should all be yourselves. If you have anything you want to add or criticize, feel free to speak your mind. Remember, drive fast, take chances, and always be excellent to each other.